Danger. The content contained in this podcast is so spicy. Don't blame us if you need an ice pack for your ears. Listener discretion is advised. Your episode starts in 3, 2, 1. Hello there, my fellow smut sluts.
Hi, Joey.
You know how I feel about being called a slut.
You love it. No.
Well, it's not for everybody.
No.
Yeah. We're back. It's season 2 of the Lusty Library podcast.
Wow.
This is exciting.
We made it. We're here.
I'm Joey, this episode's hostess. If you're new here, let me give you a sneak peek of what you're in for. It's pretty much like a roller coaster, but with cocktails and questionable life advice. Each episode, the host chooses a romance novel that none of us has read. We get a little tipsy, drinking the signature cocktails that we have chosen for the episode. And then my co-host and I yell at each other about the book for the next 60 minutes.
Well, you guys yell at each other and I just snark.
But it sounds like one hell of a time, doesn't it? Who are those lovely co-hosts, you may ask? Well, to my right, I have the boldly opinionated on pretty much everything, Birdie.
Oh, yes. I was like, I don't know which way you're talking, left or right, if I'm looking at you or if you're looking at me. And I was like, oh, it could be either of us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I am pretty boldly opinionated.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Ah.
And to my left, the voice of reason is the level-headed Lex.
I just play level-headed on TV, you know?
Oh, you did some nice alliteration, Joey.
I know.
Good job.
I worked really hard on that.
Good job.
Well, happy Galentine's Day, lady.
Oh,
Happy Galentine's Day.
I mean, what says Galentine's Day better than a dark stalker rom-com with a masked cinnamon roll MMC?
I love it. Also, I love the way you say dark stalker.
a masked cinnamon roll.
Well, do you know cinnamon roll is actually an archetype
Yes.
in romance novels?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I love my
You teach
cinnamon
me
rolls.
things every day.
A cinnamon roll is a guy who is sweet, will do all these things for you.
Soft.
The soft on the inside, gushy and mushy, and oh yeah, RMMC, this book is definitely a bit of a cinnamon roll, isn't he?
Aw,
But the
and
cinnamon is a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
And he's covered in frosting that looks like cum.
So you're probably wondering what book we're going to chat about today. Today's pick, we're talking about Lights Out by Navessa Allen. If you have been on a social media cleanse and never heard of this book, which has been all over TikTok and Instagram, let me give you the summary. I want someone with a soul as black as night. Someone who would burn the world down for me and not lose a single minute of sleep over it. Trauma nurse Allie Capalucci doesn't need any more kinks. She likes the one she's landed on just fine. To her, nothing could top the masked men she follows online. Unless one of those masked men was shirtless, heavily tattooed, and waiting for her in her bedroom. She dreams about being hunted by one in particular, of him chasing her down and doing deliciously dark things to her willing body. She never could have guessed that by sending one drunken text, those dreams would become her new reality. I want things most people don't, craving darkness and depravity instead of light and love. Josh Hammond has spent his life avoiding the limelight, but his online persona is another story. At night, he posts mass thirst traps for his millions of fans to drool over. But one follower has caught his eye. Allie. After reading a comment begging him to break into her house wearing a mask, he decides to take her up on her offer. Together, Allie and Josh live out their darkest fantasies, unaware that Allie has captured the attention of someone else. Someone with far more sinister intentions than a little light stalking. As Josh turns from predator to protector and the stakes heighten, He must ask himself how far he's willing to go for the woman he's obsessed with. And I have to say, I think today's cocktail pick is right on par with this book.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, fantastic pick.
Today's signature cocktail is the Thirst Trap. Make sure you visit us at the Lusty Library Podcast on Facebook and Instagram or the lustylibrarypodcast.com to take a look at this drink and grab the recipe. Cheers, ladies. Let's give this a drink.
Cheers.
Teen teen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I want more jalapeno next time.
I added 2 extra slices to my cup.
Oh, I saw you.
Yeah. I was tempted to cut more off of it to get up into the part with the seeds, just to get the really spicy part. Yeah.
But we got to keep the palate light
Yeah,
for
God damn
a
it.
certain young lady.
Yes, and I do love that you decided to forego the jalapeno topper on mine in particular.
Mhm.
So thank you for keeping my heartburn at bay for this episode.
I know you
Oh.
like your spice in your books, not in your food.
I do.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's so good, though. It's so good.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to decide to join us on this adventure, I want to make sure there's a big listener note going out there. This book has trigger warnings. So before diving into the pool, you might want to get your swimmies on and take a read and make sure none of these are going to bother you. Or if you're all like us, get ready to dive in butt naked. What do you think?
Are we skinny dipping? Yeah.
We are skinny dipping with
Yeah.
us. Let's go. So the book opens up and we get to meet Allie, who's our FMC. She's a 20-something trauma nurse in the ER, which is super cool. But she's got a little dirty secret, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
So is this a real thing, masked men? Is this a thing?
Don't you know everything's a thing?
Yeah, you know,
don't we
I'm
talk
such
about
a sweet little baby.
Oh, your FYP page is boring as fuck.
Oh, I guess it is, huh?
This is a huge thing.
Oh, fuck. All right.
On our break, I'm so pulling up my IG and I'm going
Oh,
to show you
fuck.
what comes up on my...
Okay.
So she is into watching thirst trap videos of masked men with phenomenal bodies, wearing masks. You don't see their face, with lights and poses and beds and sometimes knives and fake blood. And she freebases particular on one guy. The faceless man.
I love it.
So, my first question now you've already answered. So, has anybody ever seen any of these masked men thirst traps?
No.
No, I just assumed they're out there, you know. My IG is puppies, food, and old houses.
Yeah.
What do you want from
Mine
me?
is old houses, woodworking things,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
and baby cows.
So, these are the moments that happen in life where I really wonder how the fuck we are all friends with each other.
that. Because you add these things into our life.
Mine is books, more books, and then naked men of all sorts. Either naked men, well, let's not say naked, half naked men baking, half naked men wearing masks, a half naked men cutting wood,
Oh, yeah. The cutting wood
Okay.
is what really does it.
and then
Oh, yeah.
beauty and hair products. So completely our FYP pages are all different.
It's all good. It's all good.
We learn about Allie's addiction, and she watches this guy, and he posts new videos every 3 days, and she's a pretty heavy commenter on his posts. And nobody knows this guy's name. He never captions any of his posts. He just puts them up, and he has millions and millions of followers that happen. You know, and Allie leads a life where she is all about her job. You hear about her 20-hour shifts. She's super dedicated to
Mhm.
being a trauma nurse. She doesn't do real relationships. She, kind of had a long-term hookup. And after watching one of her masked man videos, she texts her hookup that she was hooking up with for the past year. a screenshot of the Masked Man video that is her favorite of them all. And she asks him, hey, do you want to do this? And the dude's like, girl, we have not talked in 2 months. I'm really dating someone, and that's not my jam. No, thank you.
God, he is so boring.
Yeah, but also straightforward about it, like.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. No offense to anybody that is totally like him. He's a very real person.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And he's got a roommate.
Yeah.
Who's met Allie before. She was at the house one time with the hookup, right?
Yeah.
And he shows his roommate, Josh, the text that Allie sent him, a screenshot of the Faceless Man video.
I would have puked in my lap if I was him.
Yeah.
I would have totally been like, ugh.
Because who is it? The Faceless Man is Josh.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
And nobody knows it's him. Not even his roommate that he's been best friends with since they were little kids.
Love it.
And he's like, oh, shit. And he grabs the phone and he's like, oops, I accidentally deleted it. And his roommate Tyler's like, no big deal. I don't need a naked man in my messages. But Josh gets a brilliant idea. Josh is like, Allie saw it. Let me go see what kind of comments she's made on my posts.
I'm sorry. Let me go find her first, stalk her down,
I was about to
and
say.
then write a script that pulls all of her comments together.
Stalker engaged.
Computer hacker king.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's hot.
And he finds out she's watched like over 200 hours of his videos, and there's over 1,000 comments from her handle, Allie.Allie.Oxen.free.
It's such a good name.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There are
It's
lots of
awesome.
little nuggets like that all throughout the book that I was like, I love this person's sense of humor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Navessa's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
Oh my
I want to
God.
be her friend.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
100%.
This is where the premise of the book ensues. Josh is like, she is asking me in my comments to break in and make her fantasy a reality. So fuck it. I'm going to do it.
Consent. In his brain. Consent.
I mean,
Here's a question. Do we feel like this actually is consent?
that's where social media really bugs me. Not to get up on a soapbox or anything, but like,
Here it is. Let me push it over.
God fucking damn it, is it annoying to watch people make comments that you know they would never say in real life?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so infuriating
Yeah.
to me. So, do I think that this is consent? Abso-fucking-lutely not. And this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Obviously, once we get it further into the book, we hear him actually do research on how do women feel after someone's broken into their house. And he was like, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's what made me really love him and love the book and be committed to the book. Because at first I was like, this is insane. This guy's out of his fucking mind. Is it hot that he researched all these things and he got the super cool magnets to undo the deadbolt? And it's really sexy how much he knows and that he can force a power grid blackout? Yeah, it's hot. But this is so bad. And then I was like, okay, I'm on board.
Because this is a book. This is part
Yes.
of the storyline.
It's a part of the fantasy.
How they met. He also gave her opportunities to check the opt-out button and not proceed with what was happening.
After he broke into her house.
broke into her house.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Once he realized what he did was wrong.
He breaks into her house. He films one of his videos there, and he leaves his mask on her bed.
Oh, it's such a
Oh
good
my
idea.
God, I know. So she's at work when he posts that video, and she watches it, and she's like, oh, fuck, I got that comforter. Oh, this could have been filmed in my bedroom.
And she posted it as a comment. The fact that she posted it as a comment, I literally screamed.
And I think the comment was like, bring it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then she gets home and we get to meet her fur baby,
Yay.
Fred, who I will say right off the fucking back was an integral character in this entire motherfucking book.
Fred the cat.
If Fred wasn't there, Josh would not gotten as far as he did.
Oh, yeah.
Because he needed Fred's approval.
Yes, he did. He needed Fred's support to be brought into the fold. But Allie walks into her bedroom and she's like, oh shit, there's something on my bed. And she goes and she finds the mask that the faceless man had left. And then the bitch pulls out a fucking gun.
Yes, insane.
So, all right, this is where I was like, yes. Allie is my girl.
Yeah.
And I highlighted a part of the book because she was like, I had a handgun in my drawer. Now, don't necessarily firearms, but she's like, I have throwing knives by my bedside. I've got a bat by my bed. I'm like, that's me.
So she takes self-defense courses.
Yeah. Can I just say, yes, the self-defense courses is what did it for me.
Yep.
What sealed the deal on my approval of the whole operation, in the sense that I'm the kind of person that I don't support using a gun or a knife or a baseball bat or anything unless you are fully trained to use it. It's like taking drugs for mental health without a therapist.
Yeah, right.
Like, you need the support to be able to have those tools. And once they got into the fact that she took the self-defense classes, I was like, I'm fully on board now. Great. Because the statistics of people having things turned and used against them if they're not fully trained is insane. And it drives me crazy. And I was like, oh my God, we don't need this huge book blowing up about this person using these things and then without all the support. So yeah, oh my God, I'm such a
100%.
fan. Anyhow, major fan of Allie.
Being the trauma nurse in a major metropolitan hospital.
Right.
She's seen it all.
She's seen it all, and she has to be prepared because she does the night shift. Some crazy fucking shit happens.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
The city and state that this story was set in was never listed in there.
I specifically noticed it also.
I found that fascinating too. That way it can be your city.
Yeah.
You, the reader, this is your environment.
Your cold, snowy, scary city.
When he broke into her house, he set up some cameras.
Oh. I mean, if he's going to break into her house, I'm going to say the boundaries aren't there. And he says something about, like, she's been watching me for 200 hours or whatever, you know, turnabout, fair play.
But is it really watching when you are voluntarily posting it?
Oh, it's complete other world. Yeah.
If this was a real world situation, you'd be like, motherfucker, this shit's fucked up. When you're putting it in the world of this book that you're reading, the premise is actually really fucking cool.
Also, I have to say, I am a harsh critic for real world type things. For me, either you're in a total fantasy or I need it to be pretty real. And I have to say, the world that Navessa built was so real feeling for me that by the end of this book, I was like, yeah, this is all real and it's happening in our world. And this is definitely something that happened. I did not even have to suspend my disbelief for 1 second.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh? Because I thought you would probably be the harshest critic on that.
I know. And it's just because she did it so well. She did the follow-up so well.
Well, I feel like she thought about what people were going to ask, like, why did they do it that way? This would happen instead. And she already pre-thought out those pieces and was like, yeah, no, you actually can slide a deadlock with a magnet and all these pieces to it.
Right. There's that. But then there's also Allie's reaction to everything that he does. Yeah. And at first she was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot. I lured a guy I don't know from the internet to my house. Who knows if this is even the guy? Yeah, this mask looks like his, but like, oh my God, she barricades her door. She brings her guns in. She's fucking terrified.
Right.
That was a real reaction.
But
fair.
At the flip side of it, she also has what would be a real reaction of, wait a minute, this is scary as fuck,
Yes.
but it's also hot.
Well, yeah.
Because
So-
that's her king.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the fact that she got truly scared shitless is what got me fully on board with the
Yeah.
book. And then he wins her trust because he realizes how much he has to do to win her now because he's an asshole and he really scared the shit out of her.
Right.
So that's where I was just like, yep, fully on board.
Yeah.
This is fully fucking real.
He sets up the camera in her room. She pulls her gun, barricades her and Fred in the bedroom. And she's like, okay, well, what do I do now? So she pulls up her social media and she decides to send the faceless man a DM. Be like, I know this is going to sound a little crazy there, dude, but did you break into my house? Did you film a video and then leave your mask? And that's when the magic of this book begins.
The banter.
Banter kink.
I've got to tell you, the banter in this book had me going fucking wild.
Yeah.
This has you written all over.
My
it.
God.
Yeah.
The laughing. I will tell you, I have 50 phrases that I pulled out of this book that I called banter golden nuggets.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm. I was
Yeah.
laughing out loud multiple times. My husband was rolling his eyes at me so hard.
The inner monologues
Yes.
each of these two people had was intense because it went from really super fucking serious moments to some of the goofiest, fun moments that have you laughing and chuckling.
What was your favorite funny banter thing?
Oh my God. There's so many.
Top one? Okay, no, don't worry, I'll go first. When he names the cat Fred Capalucci Hammond III. Oh, I'm sorry. Sir Fred Capalucci Hammond III. The first of his name.
I love
Oh my God.
He is talking to his roommate, Tyler, and he says pretty much to Tyler, do not talk about my son in that manner. And his roommate, Tyler's like, what the fuck? Your son? He's like, Sir Frederick. Phenomenal.
It's all about the cat.
But the way it flows is
Yes.
so natural. Like,
Okay.
I never felt like the banter was forced.
No.
It was beautifully done, the tit for tat, and it just felt natural.
This was an inner monologue Allie was having, and it was about Josh when she meets him IRL, when Josh is being Jaw, not the faceless man. And we'll get to a little component about that, but she said, and when he smiled and those dimples appeared, it triggered ovulation. You couldn't convince me otherwise. Not after the way I stood there staring at him while my ovaries donned their war paint and started metaphorically chucking eggs at the man.
Yes.
I was like,
Yep.
that is fucking hilarious. I would say something like that.
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my other favorite one that I wrote down. Towards the end, when they've decided to be boyfriend and girlfriend. And he's, I guess, speaking to the reader, and he says, said Allie, my girlfriend. And the narrator did such a good job. My girlfriend.
I will say, I think this is a book that has more gravitas when you listen to the audiobook.
It was excellent.
It was so fucking well done.
really well done.
It was really well done that it just curated the story for you. The inflections, it hyped up the banter in the book.
Yes. I listened to it twice, and I can firmly state that it would not have been as funny in my head because these voice actors are way more talented than my brain could ever be.
Oh, see, and I didn't listen to it, but I still was chuckling out.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
It stands
Oh, yeah.
on its own, but I'm just saying, like, he was excellent. They were both excellent,
Yeah.
but that moment when he was like, said Allie, my girlfriend. He said it like such a dork. It was so cute. Do you have a funny part?
I do have a funny part. I loved it when they were fighting. The part where he's like, our first official fight. I was absolutely going to mark this down in my calendar so a year from now we could celebrate the day and she acknowledged that this was something between us.
Yes.
I'm like, what a cinnamon roll.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So funny and so sweet at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, so I have another one on the Banter King. Oh, God. Too late. 6'4", muscle-bound, heavily tattooed, shirtless Josh cradling a baby in his arms. I could feel my ovaries back at it again, opening the floodgates and screaming, "Go, go, go!" as they released every single egg in my body. If I had sex with this man in the near future, we'd have to double up on birth control. My pager went off, and I was glad for the excuse to get out of there before the next kink I developed was a breeding one.
Yeah.
Doesn't he say somewhere along the lines, too, we have to triple up because my sperm are all go, 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 too?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they start to DM back and forth. He's trying to be very cautious about what he says to her in the messages so it doesn't incriminate him. He's really worried now. He's Googling, how do women feel when this happens? Like, fuck, I fucked up. I got to make it up to her. How do I make it up to her? Oh, Google tells me to send her flowers. Okay, I'm going to buy out the entire flower shop using a stolen credit card.
Not just any stolen credit card, though. So he's a professional hacker, and he works for a very elite company. So he's using the credit card of one of the hackers that's trying to get into his company's network to buy all the flowers. And he's like, it's not really stealing because they were, doing something illegal to start with. It's kind of like he's already marked somebody as bad, so anything he does to them afterwards is kind of like, whatever.
Yeah. She's like, I have no place to put these. I don't want them. So she talks a delivery driver into bringing them over to the hospital that she works at.
She doesn't just talk him into it. She has to pay him $50.
Right. And she says this out loud. And what does Josh do? He finds her payment app that she uses, and he sends her $50.
It's great. It's great.
The whole time.
Yeah, it's great.
And then he sends her an entire box of home security equipment. And what is one of the things that is included in this box?
Camera finder. That was funny. He's playing a game with her.
He is.
Yeah.
And that's the whole premise of what the two of them enjoy.
And
right?
It gets to a point where he says, if you want me to stop, just tell me.
Yeah.
I will stop. She never does.
So she finds the camera that he put in the bedroom and realizes, wait a minute, last night I just masturbated to his video and this camera was in my room.
I don't know if I would ever believe him if he said he turned his screen off.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Like, I know that he doesn't because we know from his POV, but I don't think I would ever believe him.
And she starts to wonder if he's watching me here at work. So she puts up the middle finger in the break room of the hospital. He messages her back. Rude.
God, so good. So good. So hot. Computer hacker kink.
So because Josh is watching her at work, shit hits the fan one night. There is a mass shooting in the city that they're in. Allie's worked a 20-hour shift, didn't leave. They're in the north somewhere that gets snow. The weather is really bad. She's dead on her feet. She's leaving at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think what ensues is one of my favorite scenes in the fucking entire book. Allie's walking out to her car in the employee parking area. She's saying to herself, I'm really not at a place where I should be driving. I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in 48 hours. I'm tired. I'm hungry. All these things. I'm going to take an Uber home, but I need to get some stuff out of my car. And as she's walking towards her car, what happens?
Well, the car's already running.
Nice and warm.
But she doesn't have a remote starter.
So I was like, oh my God, does he know how to do everything?
Apparently.
I mean, I guess if he can figure out how to break into her house without leaving any marks, he can hotwire a car.
Yeah.
So he is sitting in her car.
Bold move.
All warmed up, hood up, his faceless mask on, and he won't talk to her. And he won't roll the window down because he's like, you'll mace me. He's texting her.
Yep.
I was watching you on the camera. You shouldn't be driving home. I'm here to take you home.
Ugh.
And she's like, the fuck you are?
Honestly, okay. I know I said that there was nothing in this book that required a suspension of disbelief. The only thing in this book that I had to really stretch for was the fact that he was so fucking thoughtful.
That's the fantasy. All the rest is completely possible.
He was so thoughtful. I was like, oh, come on.
And he wants to make sure she has the power and the control and feels safe. And he tells her to go around to the passenger side of the car. And he opens the door. And what's on the seat for her?
It's the gun, isn't it?
And a knife.
Her gun. So he broke into her house to steal her gun. And after much contemplation, Ellie's like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this. And she gets into the car with him. And dude puts his hand in the back seat, pulls out a lunch bag, and has brought her fucking snacks.
See?
Yeah.
This
So
is just
thoughtful.
so impossible to believe that anyone would be this thoughtful. Also, homemade trail mix. Goddamn.
Well, you know. Well, we come to find out he's a vegan.
Yes.
So, of course, he's going to have
For good
homemade,
reasons.
You know,
Fine.
homemade trail mix.
For good reasons, yes.
Yes, absolutely. It is snowstorming out. They're driving home, and Allie is so fucking attracted to this guy. It gets a little warm in there. He takes off his sweatshirt. He's wearing a black Henley
Oh,
that
my
he wore
God.
in the video.
Yum. Yeah.
I worship at the altar of the black hen.
Mm-hmm.
Meow, meow, meow.
So I started thinking, one of the things that was brought up in this book is how she was staring at his forearms. Now, I'm a sucker for a good forearm.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck are we attracted to forearms? What is it about the forearm?
So to me, a rippling muscular forearm indicates a certain kind of strength
Mm-hmm.
that is highly useful in certain situations.
Is that what it is?
And it's very sexy.
As
To
I
me.
say, to quote the book, the lizard brain
Ah, yes.
is going, oh, that's a strong man. He will keep me protected from the world. And, you know, it's a survival instinct thing. It very much is like a primal thing. I was going to say, actually, most of the time I'm looking at hands more than the forearm, but they're connected to each other.
Oh,
so-
I'm a hands girl all
Oh,
the
yeah.
way.
Yeah. You
all
gotta
the
have
way.
good hands.
Yep.
I was just trying to suss out in my own brain, like, what the fascination was. Because it is absolutely attractive. And I just can't figure out why.
Right. Like if we had to rate parts of the body that were super sexy, I would almost venture to say, you know, everybody always talks about like, oh, look at my guns, look at my biceps. And it's not the bicep, it's the forearm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So men, if you're listening, you don't have to go as hard on the biceps. Go hard on the forearms. Those wrist curls.
I was going to say, it's a whole package. Don't ignore the forearms.
Well, sure. Right.
This is really like the first time they're together in person. She has the knife in her hand and starts to use it to lift up his Henley so she can see his body.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it leads her to give him a blowjob while he is driving in a snowstorm.
Yep.
That's insane. And I love that he tries to pull over and the GPS is like, make a U-turn. And she's like, I'm sorry, you need to keep driving. Oh, it's fucking great.
But in the middle of all this, Josh is ready to blow his load. And all of a sudden, he feels an immense pain in his hand. Because while he was getting the best blowjob of his life from this woman that he is stalking, she fucking stabs him in the
God.
hand.
Yep.
God. Accidentally.
I was going to say, it wasn't purposefully. Right?
No. She's just like really in it. You know,
Yeah.
she's really trying to make him never think of another woman again.
Mhm.
And doing a great job at it. So she's really in the zone and she's not thinking about where her super fucking sharp knife is.
And Josh is so worried about getting blood on her car, blood in her hair. And then when Allie's done, the last thing she does is she kisses the tip of his penis. I do not know why that little thing affected me as much as it did.
What, you were laughing at it?
No, I thought it was great.
You never done that before?
I have.
I was going to say, it's just a nice little touch.
It's a nice little touch, but I don't know if I've read that in a book.
Yeah,
where
it's good.
someone's outlined that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I've done that before, but this is the first time I saw it written down
Yeah.
as an ending to it.
But that's what works for me is she's got this like dark romance. It's completely outside of our in this room's everyday norm. And she balances it with all these little pieces of what would be everyday norm. And that's what makes it so good, the contrast between those two things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I love that he gave her basically all the power in that moment. And then especially where he's usually the person who's in control and has the power. But he knew he fucked up, so he had to give it up to earn her trust. That's what's hot.
God, he's so thoughtful.
You're just going to keep saying that?
Yes.
Excellent.
So unrealistic.
I don't think so in the things that he did.
I know. I'm being ridiculous, but there were moments where I was just like, God damn it. He's so fucking nice. And maybe I'm just mad because I just want that honeymoon phase level of thoughtfulness for myself again.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I was mad, is because it wasn't anger. It was just jealousy.
Well, that's a good point. Honeymoon phase. Like, what are they going to be like 3 years from?
And
Totally.
I think in a way he is definitely making up for, okay, this was maybe a little fucked up way how we met.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in her. Like, she's a gem.
Yeah.
So they go back to Allie's house. She has to give him 5 stitches.
So many.
But I love it. As she's stitching him up, I have to tell you what the inner monologue was. I dropped my gaze and refocused on the hand before me. The faceless man needed 5 stitches. 5. I must have sliced more than stab. Lost in my own little lust-filled world as I worshipped what was arguably the most aesthetically pleasing dick I had ever seen. Because of course it was. His entire body was a masterpiece. Why not his cock too? Big, thick, straining, with a silky smooth skin unmarred by veins or discoloration. I'd taken one look at it and saliva started pooling in my mouth. This is while she is giving him 5 stitches on the hand from the knife that she had accidentally slashed him with.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because that's what we think about.
Yep. I mean, honestly, I would be doing the same thing if you're in that like peak high of having just met someone and like having this intense moment. Yeah.
So he won't sleep with her. One of the things that he says is, until she knows who I really am, I'm not going to sleep with her.
Love it.
Okay.
Gosh, he's
because
so
there's so
honorable.
many layers to that. So he sends her on her merry way. She goes to sleep. The next day, there's a snowstorm. She gets up. She feeds Fred the cat. She opens the fridge, which had pretty much nothing in it, and she finds a takeout container. And she was awoken by a sound that sounded like the door slamming, but she's like, how could that be? And she opens this takeout container that was not in there, and it's pancakes with fresh strawberries and homemade whipped cream from her favorite bakery that she orders every Sunday.
Her favorite order. He's such a thoughtful stalker.
Yeah.
He notices the detail.
Yes.
And then she's like, there's a gap in my security camera footage. I need to go see if the cameras work. And she opens the door and a foot of snow dropped on the ground. And she's like, oh, shit, now I got a shovel. Her driveway's been shoveled.
So hot.
I was going to say, that's the hot stuff.
Yeah.
Her car has been cleaned off.
Ugh.
the faceless man talked to the neighbor who was like, girl, you got yourself a handsome man. Keep him around.
Love. Obsessed with the fact that he shoveled her driveway
Yes.
with his mask off.
Uh-huh.
No, like, he didn't bring like a ski mask. He shoveled
No.
with his mask off and let the neighbors see him before he did.
Mhm.
God, I love that so much.
Because he knew Allie couldn't ask the neighbor what he looked like.
Yes. I
Because
know.
how was this guy your boyfriend and Allie wouldn't know what he looked like?
I know. It's just so
the premise
perfect.
is so smart.
Can
Yeah.
we talk about one thing that bothered me, though, in the interaction when we start as the readers to meet the neighbors? So, Allie Capalucci, all right?
Yeah.
She claims to be Italian. She says the neighbors across the street from her made her a lasagna casserole.
Oh.
When has any Italian ever referred to a lasagna as a casserole? It's lasagna.
Maybe it's because her neighbors aren't Italian.
And they're
Right.
not. I don't think they are.
They
They're
made
from
a
the South.
lasagna casserole, so they were doing their best to do something Italian for her, even though they're not Italian.
Oh, there's the sweet spot
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there.
Of course,
yeah.
I'll find that.
Oh, that's really cute because they were so cute.
They were
too.
adorable.
Yeah,
I wanted to
they
be
were
their
cute.
neighbors.
They-
God, Lex, I hadn't even thought about it that way. They made her a lasagna because they knew she needed a taste of home because her family wasn't around.
Right.
That's really cute. Navessa is so smart.
It is cute.
Sorry, carrying on.
We find out some backstories.
Yeah.
So we find out Josh's backstory.
That his dad was a serial killer.
Ted Bundy wannabe,
The Ken doll serial killer.
the Ken doll killer. That was clever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
That's
Yeah.
cute. Yeah.
And one of the things Josh had worried about his entire life when they find out what his dad has done, and he's been on a crime series documentary. So his dad is a buzz right now. He was really worried that he had a lot of the traits that his dad did.
So the whole time he's doing this with Allie, he's like, is this how it starts? Am I going to become my dad? Oh my God.
I totally understand that
Yeah.
paranoia. I mean, he did say that his dad got a head injury. So that's partially why they think he went a little off the deep end. But
Yeah.
I completely understand his paranoia
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and the mortification and the shame of being associated with that person. And it was definitely a really, really well thought out, super fun plot point.
Yeah.
And then he's been hiding his identity this whole time, and that he's switched schools every time it comes up. And that's where Tyler comes in, is he's his childhood friend and has stuck by him the whole time.
Yeah.
So as much as, and they say it a bunch of times, that Tyler's a douchebag, he's a loyal one.
I did like Tyler by the end of the book. I was like, yeah, he doesn't have to be my boyfriend,
No,
but he's a
no.
good pal.
He is.
No, that we all
Yes.
have those guy friends that it's like, I love you. You can't date any of my friends. It's not allowed. But
Yeah.
you're a good guy
Yeah.
for guys.
And we find out Ellie lost her mom in a car accident.
Oh God, that was awful.
Oh,
And she takes the blame for it because her mom was teaching her how to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And she got super nervous and stopped in the middle of the road. A truck hit them, and then a pipe went off the truck and went right through her mom. And she couldn't save her mom, and her mom died. And then her dad died of a heart attack a couple of months after her mom died.
yeah,
She had no siblings. It was just her.
brutal.
So she's kind of been on her own the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So here are these two people that have had some damage and some trauma, and I think their backstories were so flushed out and really kind of made their personalities, why they were doing what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
why Allie became a trauma nurse because of her mom. She wanted to save people. Josh, why he was doing the Faceless Man videos because of the situations that happened with his dad. He worked really hard in his body. That was a way to show off. And he was being a recluse because he looks just like his dad, and people were recognizing him and stopping. Well, come to find out, probably a lot of people were stopping because He's hot as fuck.
Yeah. I love that moment where Allie's just like, ugh, I really didn't want to have to tell you this.
'Cause your
And-
ego doesn't need anything
Yeah.
else.
And he was just like, oh, really? Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
They've had these interactions, and she needs to know who the faceless man is. And remembers that Tyler's roommate is a hacker. And he has a really important job that involves computers. And maybe if she pays him, he can help her figure out who the faceless man is.
So great.
Such a Three's Company thing.
So she calls Tyler on the phone, and the microphone is still hooked up. And Josh hears the entire phone call of Allie calling his roommate Tyler to ask Josh to help her find somebody. So things finally work out. They set it up. Allie goes to meet the real Josh. Now, dude is so fucking smart. He did all these things to the apartment to get her off the scent of everything.
The literal scent.
Yes.
He showered with different soap.
Got Tyler's sweatshirt out of his laundry basket,
Brilliant.
put it on so he wouldn't smell like that, made the apartment so cold that he would have to wear fingerless gloves so she couldn't see. He's got all the tattoos that go down his hands.
And
right?
the injury.
Yep. She
Smart.
stabbed him in the hand. She would definitely know it was him. He made sure that she wasn't going in the bedroom. He brought his computer out.
Oh, and he set up the automatic text responses to her phone.
They had a 30-minute interaction, and the two of them clicked. But he's like, oh, shit, I'm jealous of myself. I think she's attracted to me.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was
that
cute.
was absolutely cute. She leaves, and she realizes she knows Josh is the faceless man.
I loved that they still had a connection without the mask, though.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he definitely recognized that as well. And it made him feel a lot more comfortable about continuing to pursue it aggressively,
Yes.
which I really loved because I loved them. They were so cute. And I really wanted them to be together forever. And this book gave me everything I wanted.
Yeah. So let's just do a quick little rundown of the spice that's in this book.
Get into it, girl.
So at the 17% mark, Josh masturbates to thinking of Allie, of what would happen when he breaks into her house wearing the mask. Then Allie masturbates back to the video Josh made at like the 22% mark of the faceless man being in her bedroom. At the 26% mark, they meet in real life the first time, and we get the bloody blowjob. Then Allie was waiting for Josh to be at the house, and Josh wasn't at the house. Allie wanted revenge. So she takes the camera that she found that he had planted, plugs it in, pulls out her biggest dildo, and decides to masturbate.
That is so bold. I loved it.
I did too.
Yeah.
And Josh was planning on being at her house.
He's
that
just
day.
running late.
Yeah. He just fell asleep by accident.
He fell asleep.
Yeah. He's on his way. He's on his way to her house.
So while she is masturbating, he breaks the door down to the house. And she's like, well, what if someone is actually breaking in? This is the worst thing, just covered in lube with a dildo in my twat. Well, it's
So
Josh.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's when we have the extreme edging at 38% of the book.
Yeah.
He edged her. And she's like, I looked it up and I thought edging would be fun. It's not fucking fun at all.
Allie's my girl. Yup.
He says later, it's worth it. And is it worth it? And she says, yes.
So now we're getting to a point where they're starting to get intimate. She has a feeling it's Josh. It's not confirmed. He's still wearing a mask. He comes in with a mask and a voice modulator. Then we have at the 50% mark, he comes in with the balaclava, no voice modulator with deepening his voice. We have the naughty knife sex.
Mm-hmm.
That was the hottest scene where he stabs his knife into her mattress up to the hilt. which at first I was like, oh my God.
I had the same reaction. And then
God damn it. He ruined the mattress. And then he's like, don't worry, I bought you another one.
it's coming tomorrow.
This bed's too small for me. It's the same setup, but it's going to be a California king. Because he's
Love
supposed
it.
to be 6'4".
He's so thoughtful. But so he stabs the knife into the bed. She's fucking the hilt of his knife. And then he puts his finger up her ass. And it's so hot, he comes in his pants.
But not only that, she is blindfolded and handcuffed.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Icing on the fucking cake.
Would you believe their first kiss didn't happen till the 55% mark?
Yeah, because he's wearing a mask.
Mask.
Yep.
Yeah, I do believe it.
They have shower sex, which is the first penis to vagina penetration at the 70% mark of the book.
Okay, so in that scene, was he wearing a balaclava in the shower?
No. He was already exposed. She knew exactly who he was.
All right, cool.
Okay? And then they have masked sex at 86% of the book, where she wakes up, finds herself tied up, a red light's on, he's wearing his mask, he's got the modulator, and they have the dirtiest, phenomenally great sex in that scene at the 86% mark.
Oh, first he cut off her bottoms with the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Handcuffed.
She's tied to the bed. That's when he pulls out the vibrating anal plug.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Shoves that in, fucks her with his cock. He spanks her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful scene.
Vibrating butt plug, fucking her while was she blind? She was blindfolded? No.
Not
No.
in at the
But he was
86%
wearing the
mark.
mask.
He was wearing the mask.
Yeah. God.
The dreamy look on your face is so good.
Yeah. No, that's the shit right there. I finally killed Lex.
It's when you make the old man.
I killed her. She's dead.
You make that old man.
Do we need to call 911? Allie, can you come? I think Lex needs some CPR here.
Okay, I'm all right.
I think it's time for our sexy stud to read us some smutty stuff. And I hate to say it, I didn't pick my favorite sex scene at the 86% mark because there was one that was just so much better. So let's let our sexy stud read it to you.
Ooh.
Please, she whispered, grinding against my fingers. I shifted my hips forward, just enough to nudge at her entrance. Just enough for her to feel how wide the head of my dick was. She sucked in a breath, tensing up at the threat of such a brutal invasion. Relax, baby, I told her, brushing her hair from her neck. You can take it. I rolled my fingers over her clit again, and she shuddered, shoving back against me on instinct. I thrust forward at the same time, just enough to sink my tip into her. She was soaking wet, but it was still a tight fit. Tight enough that it felt like a soft, warm vice was wrapped around the head of my cock. And oh, fuck, did it feel good. I slipped my hand from her clit to her hip, holding her in place, gripping her hard enough that I would probably leave marks. But my hold on her was the only thing keeping me sane, keeping me from losing the last of my sanity and pounding into her like a mindless beast. My other hand rose to her neck, snaking around her delicate, vulnerable throat in a possessive way I knew she loved. I leaned over her and whispered, "Don't tense up again." She sucked in a ragged breath and shook her head. "I won't." "Good girl," I said, and without warning, I kicked her feet further apart, sinking in another inch as she dropped onto me. I groaned. She hissed. But instead of tensing, she braced her hands on the wall and breathed through it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was good. That was just, woo. There was so much different kink in this book.
Oh, yeah.
So do we kind of have like a list running of all the things that we saw in there?
In my head, yes.
Well, let's go through. So, okay. We've got knife play.
Yep.
Okay. We've got bondage because there's some tying up
Yep.
and blindfolds. Toys.
Yep.
Love the toys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Unconventional penetrative toys.
Well, that's part of knife play too.
I guess so.
Technically.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Which also, nice touch on that was him putting his hand between the hilt
Oh,
and
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Because, you'd mentioned like he stuck his finger in her anus. It's not
Mhm.
just that, it's that he was protecting her from any possibility of getting hurt. Oh, also, I love that he wiped out the alcohol pad.
Yes.
And cleaned
Yes.
that off.
I
Yes. Sanitary and protective.
But I love the way it was phrased in the book, right? It was a clinical thing that was done, but he goes, if you would ever think that I would do anything to harm that pretty pussy of yours, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you just took such a sterile thing and made it fucking hot. Like,
know.
that was beautifully, beautifully done.
I was reading that and I was like, oh, Lex is going to love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And she's a nurse, so her brain went,
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Love
it was appropriate for the scene.
It was so
Yeah.
appropriate. Okay, so
Knife play, edging.
Yep.
BDSM.
Yep.
Choking. Anal play.
How did I forget about the choking?
I know. How did
I
you forget
don't
about
know.
the choking? Vaginal sex and anal toys at the same time. So a little bit of double hole penetration. Masked sex and spanking is what I have on my list.
shower sex, outdoor sex.
That didn't happen till epilogue time, but yeah.
Chasing-
Oh, yeah, the prey.
Prey,
The hunt.
Primal play.
primal
That's
play.
what
Primal
it
play
is.
is
that
what
a
that's
term?
called. Yeah.
Jesus
Is
fucking
actually a thing.
Christ. It's a
Yeah.
term for everything.
Yes.
It was super well done. I thought the book was steam-tastic. The scenes were super well written. They were pretty intense. So, yeah, even though we only had actual penis to vagina sex twice in the book, it still had a lot of steam happening to it.
Oh, there's so much more out in the world.
Yeah.
Can we, for 1 second, just circle around to them and why they're so great together in terms of what she wants? You sort of get a taste of it when you read the synopsis, but there's one section where she talks about why she needs this kind of thing in her life. And I loved it so much. And I wrote it down specifically. I had to re-listen to it because I only listened to the audiobook. I had to re-listen to it like 16 times to get it all written down. And it was so worth it. She has this one scene where she talks about exactly why it is that she needs this kind of darkness in her life and this particular strain of person
Mm-hmm.
and why he's so perfect for her. And I absolutely loved it. So she says, my entire life was devoted to caring for others. I wanted someone to take care of me for once. I wanted someone to want me, no, need me. I wanted a man so obsessed that he hacked into cameras to watch me when he couldn't sleep. I wanted him to monitor my location data, order me a home security system so no one else could break into my house, and threaten to murder anyone who hurt me. I didn't want him morally gray. I wanted someone with a soul as black as night. Someone who would burn the world down for me and not lose a single minute of sleep over it.
So good. So good. I had that highlighted too.
Right?
Yeah.
And it explains everything in terms of why she needs this level of person and kind of also the level of spice in her life because
Yeah.
she's also a trauma nurse. Everything is very boring to her. She's seen it all. There's multiple times in this book where he fucks her and she's in tears by the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's so emotionally ragged and she realizes that this was what she needed.
I was just going to say, she says something else along the lines where she's like, he took me out of my gray world
Yes.
and
Yeah.
showed me how to see colors again.
Yes.
And I was like,
that's
wow,
the other line.
yeah.
that's
Yes.
a beautiful line.
And he says at one point, one release led to another. And it's so beautiful.
And that's when she was crying
Yeah.
after she had her orgasm and she had had
Yeah.
a really tough day at work and just needed him. And that's what it was like. I think she loved all the foils to him. He had so many different layers where he was someone that she was so attracted to, had those dark, intense things that she wanted so bad, but also took amazing, amazing care of her.
Mm-hmm.
The cuddles were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to kind of leave the story there where it is. There is a kind of mystery component that happens. There is a third person that is involved. Maybe people die. Maybe they hide a murder, which is not really a murder.
Maybe there's a little mafia involvement.
There's so many different layers for this book that we really think you need to go out and read it.
Absolutely.
We barely scratched the surface.
We barely scratched the surface of what happens in this book.
We could be here all fucking day.
We could. This could be like a 3-part episode just outlining what happens.
I'll go mix up some more cocktails.
Yes.
I don't know. Is it time?
Is it time?
It's been a long time.
It's that time.
Dun,
dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I've missed it.
Oh, we're such fucking dorks.
I know, I love it. I'm never going to stop being dorky. So I got a question. And I feel like it's the one that has to go for this book because we would not be here if Josh didn't break into Allie's house. And that is a thing for some folks, that fantasy. So have you ever had that fantasy? Would you want somebody to come through on that? And would you need it talked about ahead of time? Or do you want to be fucking surprised?
That is absolutely not my kink. However, I very much enjoyed reading about it. I'm trying to think of a scenario where it would be okay. I don't know. But while I'm thinking,
most likely if it was someone I didn't know, like kind of in this situation like this, no, because stranger danger, you don't know. And I know Allie had it in her head the entire time. It could be good, it could be bad. Now, if it was someone that I was with in a relationship and we kind of role played it, I would be game for that. Why the fuck not? Come in, break in the house in a mask, putting yourself in that moment to see if that's enjoyable.
Okay.
I think that's very different.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking. Okay, so say I was just dating a person and I'm in my bed and all of a sudden there's a hand over my mouth. And for a second, I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I get whipped over and I see that it's them. So you just have this partial moment. But then you're like, oh my God, did you break into my house? And they're like, shut the fuck up. And they put gag on and they go for it. I'm like, oh, I'm in. Oh, I'm in. I'm actually regretting right now that I can't say, fuck, my husband can't break into our house. He has a key.
No, but here's the thing. You have the conversation about that this is a fantasy that you want to role play. You tell them what your hard limit is, and then you say, I don't want to know when. I don't want to know how. I want you to create it. These are my limits. Surprise me.
Yeah, I guess so.
So that you're really within that moment to see how you feel. But I would be so willing to try it. Just don't tell me when you're doing it. Got nothing to lose. I'm either going to be like, we will do that again next year. Or we're never fucking doing that again.
Where do you fall on it, Lex?
Okay, so it's tough for me because, first of all, stranger? No. Fuck off. Never. The one time I thought somebody broke into my house, the first thing I did was I have this like police flashlight that's got 6 D batteries in it.
Yep.
Completely naked, ran down. I didn't even wake up my husband. Well, I did. I hit him and I said, somebody's in the house. I wasn't like, honey, there's somebody in the house. Go look. No, I grabbed it. I was so fucking infuriated that somebody would be in my house that I was going to go beat the shit out of them. It was the cat. So obviously I didn't beat my cat. But I was so angry at the thought that that would happen. So I'm going to say I probably wouldn't find that surprise sexy.
I love that you ran down there naked. I've heard this story before. I forgot some of the details, and I forgot you were fucking naked.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
God, I love you so much.
I was so enraged. Did I pick up the phone to call the police? No. Did I put clothes on? No. Did I barricade the door and wait and see? No. Just so angry.
You were like,
God.
fucker, why you in my house?
That's exactly what I
Wow.
was like.
Wow. God, I'm so impressed. I'm
But
so impressed.
that being said, so I wouldn't request that of my partner, but if they wanted it, there'd probably have to be a conversation ahead about it too, because I'm a top. I don't like giving up that control. So this would be a big ask
Yeah.
in my world.
Yeah.
Sort of like Joe said, we'll try it out. We'll see how it goes. But just surprised me. Not if you want to have all your digits. Probably not.
Yeah. You're a tough cookie. God, I love that so much.
How about we rate this book, ladies? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with the smut factor. You can give this anywhere from 1 to 5 raindrops. I'm going to start with you, Lex. How smutty was this book?
Oh, well, this is one of those times where I'm like, there's a lot of smut, but a lot of it wasn't my smut, but that's not what the point of this is. So I'm still rating it a 4 because there's a lot of fucking smut. And some of it, yeah, real hot. So much so I shouldn't have been reading it in the lunchroom at work. Because it's real hard to go back to work when you're like, all right, I got to go to the restroom first and clean up. Fuck.
Yeah.
So that's my PSA for this podcast. Please make sure that you read responsibly or not. It's up to you.
Or you can be like me, listening to the audiobook at the line in the bank. No big deal.
Were you going to guess what I was going to rate this as and have it not be a 5? Because it's a 5. Oh, it's
This
a
is
5.
a 5 for you.
Oh, it's a 5. Because here's the thing. A lot of these scenarios, I don't necessarily need to live out in real life, but were they hot to read about? Hell yeah. Like, and not even to say that they're not my kink, because some of them I'm just like, oof, yeah. But I'm also just like, I don't actually need to do that, but it's still hot. And even if I found somebody that did it perfectly, would I even want to do it? Still maybe no, but hot.
Yes.
Hot.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. Like, that's what these books are for. It's
Right.
like you can buy a ticket, be a tourist.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
Great to tour it. Love it. We're here for it.
Don't necessarily need to buy a summer home.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a 5 all the way. I thought the entire book, you were getting edged.
Yeah.
Right? Every sex scene was just edging and edging and edging. And no, not everything in there is my jam either, but it was hot as shit. I am a bit of a voyeur, maybe.
A bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I don't mind reading about it. Can find the situation hot and may not want to do it myself. But I think the sex scenes and every scene was so well written that you could just feel the emotion and the pleasure that was happening and the cause and effect of everything he did and she got and backwards and forwards. So I thought it was hot as shit. For me, this was a 5. All right, let's move on to La Romance. You can give this anywhere from 1 to 5 roses. So, Birdie, how romantic was this book?
5. I loved them so much. They were so cute with each other. Did I think she was absolutely ridiculous and was way too like, I'm gonna be there for you always, even at like massive fucking risk to myself? Yes. But they were so cute. And there's a scene at the end that I'm not going to give away. This book has an extra next level Hollywood ending.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I was not sad about it. I was not sad about it because it tied up their little romance in the cutest fucking bow. And I just loved it. They were so cute.
All right, Lex, how romantic was this book for you?
Super romantic, totally romantic. That's what carried the book for me because they were so fucking adorable together. Immediately sharing the cat as their fur baby.
Yeah.
Too fucking
Oh my God.
cute.
Perfect.
And then, yeah, all his little, and I hate this term, love languages of service, you know, the bringing snacks and the shoveling and the making sure she's okay and the aftercare, always the aftercare. And they just slotted together so well, both their personalities and the hot sex and everything is just so cute. You want them to live together forever.
Yeah.
It's kind of disgusting. So a 5.
I want him to be a daddy with a baby in his hot tattooed arms. God damn.
God.
Meow.
I mean, what other number can I give than a 5?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no going around it. They fit each other really well. The banter, yeah. Whoa. Drool, 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 wipe, wipe, wipe. The way they spoke to each other was just flicking the clit. So good. I mean, it was perfect. The intensity of how much they want each other, it's nothing else than a 5 for me.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it.
Yeah.
Story. You can give it anywhere from 1 to 5 storybooks. What did you think of the plot, Lex?
4. Solid. Like way higher than 3, you know, like we talked about this before. It had all the little pieces well thought out from emotional, human, real world emotional reactions, balancing out the fantasy reactions. The story was solid all the way. The characters, even if they were side characters, were well developed. Like the story was good. So yeah, 4.
And for all those same reasons, I'm giving it a 5. The story was awesome. The side characters were awesome. The research that went into all of the little tidbits about the computer hacking, and sure, I mean, I didn't like look into it, but it did seem well researched from what I could see, from just what it's like to be a trauma nurse, what it's like to be a computer hacker, living in a building with a gym. Like literally every single detail was super well thought out, and the story was super well thought out down to every last detail, with wrapping up some of the more complicated plot points that happened towards the end that we didn't talk about, that y'all need to read about. It was great. Super fun.
Yeah, it's a 5 for me. There were just so many layers to this book, and those are the kind of books that I generally gravitate towards. So there was just real world, real people and trauma and situations that they went through. And then there was a really beautiful overarching storyline about how they met. That makes sense. And then the use of the social media comments in there, the banter that the two of them had, the use of the cat. Fred was a full character, like I said earlier in the book.
Yeah.
That brought the two of them together and the components. And the more intense the conversations about Fred got, the more intense their relationship got. So that was a huge, amazing plot point in the book. I thought it was great. For me, it was a 5.
It's so funny because Fred stands out so much in this book that I feel like if somebody was making a movie of this, they would make sure he was in there, and then there would be some producer down the line that's like, let's just make a movie all about the cat.
Oh, I could so see that, a spinoff.
Yeah.
You never know. Fred could make it on AO3. There could be fanfic about Fred.
No.
Could
no.
definitely be
Let's
possible.
not go down that path.
Oh
You
my
know?
God.
That's a kink. No.
Yeah.
Hard no.
All right, let's get ready. First book, season 2. What are we giving it for an overall rating? We can go anywhere from 1 to 5 eggplants. All right, Birdie, I'm starting with you.
Shocking. I'm giving it a 5. Great pick, Joey. Great pick. Great pick. First up, she's doing her victory dance, everybody. Yeah, first pick of the season, coming in strong.
Yeah.
Navessa Allen. Wow. Great job. Yeah. This was an awesome book. 5 out of 5.
Love it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Lex, give me a good number here.
Well, it's my job to be here and be the logical one and kind of, hold down the fort over here. And I'm still giving it a 5.
Yes.
Because when you put all the ingredients together, it makes a super great read. So
Love
I'm
it.
100% giving it a 5.
Give it a 5, everybody.
So try not to let that go to your head.
It. All right. So, God, I can't believe this. This is actually really hot. It's a fucking 5. This is my jam.
Yeah.
When we were looking at books and I'm like, I knew it's been all over social media. I read the summary because those are important to me. I was drawn to it. I've never read Navessa's work, but I did look her up to find out more about her. I've already pre-ordered book 2, which comes out in June. I am so excited. This is going to be an author in my rotation. This book was written for me. The banter, the spice, the romance, the sex, the love. This will be probably a book that I go back to and read again in 6 months. And I don't always do that. There aren't those that stick in my head. And this book may not be for everybody. But guess what? You won't know unless you go out there and read it.
And I would totally give more of her books a try.
Oh,
I'm going
yeah.
to pick up a couple more and see. Because the way she wrote, I loved the flow of it.
Yeah. Yeah. The script was great. I mean, the script, whatever. The dialogue. The dialogue was great.
You and I talk about this all the time, like wordplay, and that can sometimes affect a book for Birdie and I particularly. And 100%, I loved her style of writing. So
Flawless.
yeah. I've left you wordless.
You've left me wordless. I'm very excited that this was the first book of the season. But let me tell you, listeners, we have so much in store for you in 2025. We're so excited. So you got to get your asses out there. Make sure you're following us on Apple Podcast and Spotify so that you get notified every time we post a new episode.
And if you don't like notifications coming from your apps, you can sign up for our mailing list. We've got a mailing list now, everybody. You can go onto our website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, lustylibrarypodcast.com and sign up for our mailing list. Scroll to the bottom. It's there. Cute.
Do us a favor. Just give us that praise that we're looking for. We're into our praise kink. Please go in, leave some comments for us because we love to hear how much you like us. We want to be told we're good.
As always, we want to thank you for listening. Please make sure you follow us at the Lusty Library Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, or visit us at the lustylibrarypodcast.com. We will see you next time.
Bye.